All right, this video is going to show us another way to find slope, and it's using the slope formula, which this is given to you on your star formula chart, so it's not something you have to memorize, and it'll be very useful for you because it works really well when you have big numbers that you're looking at that are hard to find rise over run with. So, first thing we're going to look at is a graph. So the other day from a graph, we talked about finding rise over run, right? So we had to have 2 points. So looking at this point and maybe this point, we said our rise over run was we went up 2, and our run was 3, 4, 5 over 5. So our slope was 2 over 5. So now what we're going to do is we're going to prove that slope using the slope formula. So the other day we talked about rate of change, and we said this change in y, that delta y means the change in your y value. So all we're doing when we're talking about the change in two things is we're subtracting. So that is where our change in y is coming from. And then our change in x is how are we moving to the right. So from one x value to the other, what is our change in x? So looking at example 1, the first thing you should always do in order to use slope formula, we have to have 2 points. So looking at these 2 points that we have chosen on this graph, I'm going to write the ordered pairs for those. So that first point there is at 0, 2. So I'm going to write the ordered pair for that. And my next point looks like it is at 5, 4. So there is that ordered pair. Now, in order to use the slope formula, we have 2 y values and 2 x values. So a very important thing to do is label your points. So looking at my 2 points, I have my x values here and here. So the first one, since this is just my first x, I'm going to label that x1. Now I have a little subscript of 1 that's just showing that's the first x value. And my second one, I'm going to label x2. That's my second x value. Then we're going to look at our y values. And the first one I'm going to label y1. My second one is going to be y2. Now before you plug into the formula, also an important step is to write that formula with open parentheses where you're going to plug in. So instead of putting y2 in there, I'm going to use open parentheses. This is really important when you have negatives. This example we don't, but you'll see that on example 2. So now I'm going to actually go through and plug in my numbers. So in this first spot right here is where y2 goes. So up here in our points, y2 we labeled that was 4. Then y1, the formula is y2 minus y1, so y1 is 2, so that goes in that spot. And then in the denominator, we have x2 minus x1. So x2 is 5, x1 is 0. And at this point, this entire thing can be typed in your calculator. So I want you to set up one big fraction, type that in. It'll simplify it for you if it simplifies, and it'll give you the answer. So if you type that in, you should end up with 2 over 5, which we already knew that was our slope. We were just verifying it using the slope formula. All right, so on to example 2. This one's actually a little bit easier because we don't have to choose 2 points from a graph. We're already given 2 points. So looking at them, our first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and label those points. So we've got x1, y1, x2, y2. All right, so there's my y values. I'm going to deal with those first. So here's my formula with open parentheses where I'm going to plug in. So now in the first spot, we're going y2 minus y1. Remember this formula. So y2 is -1. y1 is 5. Now I'm going to look at my x values next. x2 is 3. Minus x1, which is -6. So here's where I'm talking about. It's very important to use parentheses. A lot of people will look and say, well, there's already a minus sign, so I don't need to put that. But this minus sign is different from the -6. Okay, so you need to make sure and put both of them. All right, so at this point, just like I said before, we're going to type this entire thing in our calculator. So set up a big old fraction, type in the numerator exactly how you see it with parentheses and everything. Same thing in the denominator. And then we're going to fill in our answer. So -1 minus 5 is -6. 3 minus -6 is going to be 9. Now your calculator didn't give you that because your calculator simplified it for you. So -6 over 9, if we simplify, that is -2/3. So that would be your slope using slope formula. In example 3, we have a table. Now a table is really just lots of ordered pairs, right? So in this table, we have an ordered pair here, -10, -7. Then we have an ordered pair here, -5, -6. Then we have an ordered pair here, 0, -5. And our last ordered pair is 5, -4. So we really have 4 different points. It doesn't matter which ones you choose. How many do we need for the formula? 2. We need 2 points for the formula. So we're going to just choose any 2 you want to. I'm going to choose the last 2 just for the fun of it. All right, and I'm going to write those ordered pairs over here. So 0, -5, and 5, -4. All right, so I'm going to label them x1, y1, x2, y2. So now we're going to use the formula. So we're going to first write it using what? Open parentheses. Before you plug in those numbers, make sure you write it with open parentheses. All right, so now let's plug them in. So in y2, we have -4, y1, -5. x2 is 5, x1 is 0. So again, we're going to type in this entire thing all at once, and the calculator will do all the simplifying for you. So in the numerator, we have 1 over 5. Excuse me. And that is your slope. All right, example 4. This one's a little bit different. This is a multiple choice question. So we're going to start off just labeling our points like we would before, and I think we'll find something that is a little bit different about this one. So there's x1, y1, x2, y2. So now the first thing that you notice that may be different is instead of having a number here for y2, we're just given that it's y. So and the question says, what is the value for y? So we need to find out what is that number supposed to be in order to give us a slope of -2. So we have to find which one, when we plug in one of these answer choices in for y, which one is going to give us a slope of -2. So we're going to set it up exact same way that we did before. Open parentheses. So in y2, this is where we are going to plug in one of our answer choices, right? So I'm just going to put a question mark right there because we don't know which one that is yet. y1 is -4. x2 is -2. And x1 is 3. So what we're going to do down here is we're going to take each answer choice and we're going to change this right here each time. That's the only thing that we're trying to find is that value that's going to give us -2. So if I'm looking, answer choice A has a 2 there. Answer choice B has a 6. Answer choice C has a 14. And D has a -14. Now everything else in the formula, y1, x2, and x1, none of those are changing. We already know the values for those. So I'm going to go ahead and plug those in as well. So there's y1, x2, x1, and those are going to be the same in all of these. -4, -2, and 3. All right, so now what we're going to do is, remember, we need it to equal -2. So we're going to type in each answer choice until you find the one that equals -2. So on answer choice A, you end up with 6 over -5. Well, that's not what we need, so it is not A. Answer choice B, we end up with 10 over -5, which actually, when it simplifies in your calculator, that is -2. So answer choice B is looking pretty good. Answer choice C, we get 18 over -5. That's not what we need, so it can't be C. Answer choice D, that ends up being -10 over -5, which is a +2. So that's really close, but again, we needed a -2, not a +2. So answer choice B was the only one when we plugged in 6 that gave us a -2 for our slope. So answer choice B it is. All right, example number 5. This one, we just want to find the slope between these, but you'll see that we have variables this time, which is a little bit different, but you'll see in the end they end up kind of going away. So first thing, I'm still going to label them x1, y1, x2, y2. So y2 is 5k, y1 -3k, x2 is 4k, and x1 is 2k. All right, so at this point, we're just going to simplify. Now, when I'm adding and subtracting k's, I'm just going to look at the top first. So 5k minus -3k. Those both have a k, so it's okay to add them. Those are like terms. So 5 minus -3 is going to give you 8, so that's 8k, and so in your calculator you could just type in 5 minus -3, just don't type x or anything. So that's 8k, and now 4k minus 2k is 2k. So at this point, this is not going to be an answer choice if you have answer choices. What you'll notice is that we have a k on the top and the bottom. When we have the same thing on the top and bottom, those equal 1. So we can cancel them out, because if you're multiplying by 1, it doesn't really matter. So now we have 8 divided by 2, which is just 4. So again, when you have those variables and everything has a variable, in the end, they're going to end up canceling out. And that is slope formula.